From Iowa's virtual Iowa Speedway, we say good evening, sim racing fans. This is round number 10 of the 2024 eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. Pace car down and in. Wilson and White on the front row. Green flag in heat race number 1.
Cut down to the bottom, getting a little bit of clean air. Novak is kind of stalled out. We saw him making some moves on the high side a little bit earlier. And right now, well, he's going to peek to the inside of Duval for 5th, and he may have it in 3 and 4.
Got real tight that time as Novak tries to make the move in the Wendy's and Coca-Cola freestyle machine. Let's jump on board with him. This is the Coca-Cola onboard camera. Doing his best to make the move on the bottom, but the 41, resilient as ever, Duval still playing defense as he defends P5. Meanwhile, up front, Parker White searching a little bit of a higher line that time in 3 to 4. Doing everything he can to find a gap, but Steven Wilson has not opened that door yet. Now inside of 9 laps to go. So it's 2 points per pass. That's why the guys back here, Bordeaux, Delaney, and company, continue to fight aggressively. So do those drivers up towards the front as Minter again going to do battle with the 41 of Duval. This one is for P6.
And again, you can see the gap. Novak and Duval were battling just a couple of laps ago. Now Novak has gotten well clear of Dylan Duval. So a little bit of a stack up, something happening here, just kind of outside the top 5. And right now, Duval maybe struggling a little bit, but can make life difficult on that car on the inside. As you can see, Minter not quite able to get clear off of 2, but this is another thing we'll be talking about at Iowa throughout the night, a slide job, and I wouldn't be shocked if we saw it here in 3 and 4. If Minter can just drive in, get up to the top side, and he's able to do it there. Is going to be able to make up that spot on Dylan Duval, and then here comes Daniel Falkingham to try and keep the bleeding going for that number 41 car.
He falls to P10. That's the last spot with a bonus point. If Maines gets around him, he'll be out of that. But up front, Wilson extended his lead in the last couple of laps. He's got plenty of real estate in his favor. And off of turn 4, the hometown kid, perfect in heat race number 1. Steven Wilson locks in pole for tonight's feature and cashes in 10 bonus points in the championship. Another 30 laps on deck, no yellows to set the outside for the feature race. Green flag in the air in heat race number 2.
Somebody ducking out of line. That is Michael Cozy Jr. looking to the inside of Matt Busa. Remember, he was a heat race winner at Richmond earlier this year, and he's going to be able to get the spot on Dylan Alt. You talked about the fact that we had a couple of Kansas City Pioneer cars up front. Both of those drivers in a position where they need some of these bonus points. You mentioned Graham Bolin is on that cut line, and right now Wyatt Tinsley, remember his win back at Daytona, doesn't lock him into the playoffs right now because he's 22nd in points. So even just 9 tonight will go a long ways for him. It's Keister and Salas, the 2 teammates, going to spin down to the inside in turn 3. Again, with this heat race format, no yellows here as they both spun to the inside, but Tony Kanaan Esports lock out of row 2, but it looks like they may lock out the last row in the feature.
And white flag is in the air now for race leader Graham Bolin. A couple of positions may still be up for grabs. Up front, though, that 48 car has checked on out. 0.8 of a second clear. And for the second heat race in a row, it's going to be picture perfect from pole. Graham Bolin going to lead every single lap. He wins heat race 2, locks in P2 on the grid for the feature race. Coming up next, he will join heat race number 1 winner Steven Wilson on the front row. Bolin and Tinsley, a 1-2 result for the Kansas City Pioneers. A great showing for the 20 and the 48 car. Bonus points have been paid out. Now it's time for the real deal. Pace car down and in. Let's go racing at Iowa. 3 wide already on rows 3 and 4 as they are packed in off of turn 2.
Second straight feature that we've seen Cozy go out of line to try and go 3 wide. It was almost 4 wide there for a moment, but it's going to net him a spot on Matt Busa. Jordy Lopez is already up there, and we have one spinning to the inside, hard into the inside pit wall. It's off the racing surface. We stay green, but oh, tough luck there for Ryan Luza, who looks like he may have some irreparable damage. Again, this is a great shot where you can really see the differences in where these drivers are looking for speed. You can see Minter, kind of one of the few that takes a really high entry, is going to try to get to the outside of Novak, not able to do it. Especially you get down into 3 and 4, pretty much at this point, every groove being utilized. You can see Lowe, Novak kind of going up right beneath that seam in the 3rd lane. But drivers kind of searching everywhere they can. And oh, by the way, new leader. It is Graham Bolin who has gotten by Steven Wilson. First Coke Series career win in Atlanta earlier this season. And right now, that's not working out for him as Mullis and Ottinger tangle back here. Some contact, and Mullis had to hang on to that as he got a little bit of a door there from the Logitech Chevrolet of Nick Ottinger, trying to move his way up through the top 20. But even Casey Kerwin, you can see right here that number 77 car on the right-hand side of your screen, not having a run that we're accustomed to him seeing. He's up into 13th, but right now would be just one of a few drivers that would be able to make their way in on points.
The Ottinger's been doing a good job as we're on board with him as he looks to the inside of Olot and Boson in a battle for 16th. Nick's up 9 spots with a nose in front of the 22. That time at the stripe, that's about the 3rd or 4th biggest mover through the field. Garrett Means is up 10, and then Casey Kerwin, 26th to 12th, is the biggest mover in the field. Actually, Kerwin now to 11, so make it plus 15 positions for him. Those are some of the drivers who have been making some moves. There's a look at Kerwin now with that nose in front of Zelensky at a battle for 10th and 11th. Now make it 16 positions gained for Casey Kerwin. It is not time to sound the alarm yet, but Steven Wilson has cut that gap from 9/10 of a second to 5. He may be closing in a possible battle for the lead as Honeycutt in the 8 car. He gets tagged sideways in 3. He will save it. No, finally gets tagged. And there is caution number 1. Well, as everybody heads to the pit lane, let's wind the tape back, take a second look at what that happened. This felt like one of those near incidents or near misses that we had about a dozen, if not more times earlier in this race, Blake. But to your point, finally, we just didn't get away with one.
See that 3 car, Delaney gets into Caden Honeycutt. He spends the entire back straightaway saving it, and again, just overcorrects a little bit. He has it saved. And then Bowden, if anything, that little nudge is what actually sent him around to where he couldn't save it. But
Bolin clear for the lead to 1. Here comes Wilson diving to the inside for P2.
Bolin didn't want to come up early. He wanted to make sure he stayed in his lane until the start-finish line. And oh, 1 car flipping over in turn number 2. A hard impact, several cars involved. And that will indeed bring out the caution flag as 1 car gets up and into the catch fencing off of turn 2. And that scenario that we were just talking about is going to come to fruition here. We'll have a single file restart after this one.
And let's watch it all unfold. I think the centerpiece is going to be the 3, Jonathan Delaney.
Again, he was the one that tagged Caden Honeycutt earlier, contact with Tyler Gary. And oh man, Matt Busa, Michael Guest. We saw Keegan Leahy up. He was the one that was up into the catch fencing here, but how desperate does Wilson get? Again, you have kind of a little bit of etiquette here when you have a number of wins. You have somebody in front of you who's looking to get back to the playoffs, somebody right behind you who's never won a Coke Series race. So how do you play this if you're Wilson? Because you can't get aggressive here at Iowa if you want to, but how much does you do it? These two work together and are good friends. I'd imagine it wouldn't get too dirty between these two, but you never know.
Does he risk it to go for the win in the lock-in? Now Wilson crossing back to the inside, but Bolin, I think, is comfortable being topside on the defensive line, holds him off again.
Wilson, you can see he tried to go to the top side of 3 and 4. If you are going to find a different lane to build up a huge run, that's exactly where you're going to be able to do it. He couldn't get the job done in 1 and 2, and now he's going to look top side of 1 and 2. Now there are some bumps up there, that Wilson's going to have to run over. But again, just try to build up a momentum and try to have something that he could take a swing at Graham Bolin. Parker White, meanwhile, just looking for any path and hoping that these two get side by side. That's the best thing that could happen, is these two race it out, and then he's up to try and capitalize on that. And right now, if you're Parker White, if you try to battle Wilson for second, that may end your chances to win. So I think at this point, you got to let these two try to settle it. As contact made, Bolin up the racetrack. Here they come, side by side. 2 to go at the line. White going to push Bolin as they lean on each other. 3 wide for the lead into turn 1.
Parker White looks to the inside. Door gets shut. Wilson, is he clear for the lead off of turn number 2? He is. But how does Graham Bolin respond to the bump and run? Not going to have a chance. Caution comes out behind your race leaders. Timothy Holmes is involved, and we will go to eNASCAR overtime with Wilson scored as the leader. Pace car off and in. All eyes on the number 10. Green flag back in the air. It's a good jump for Wilson.
If anybody's going to have a shot here at Steven, they got to get clear. But we're 3 and 4 wide throughout the pack. Bolin, though, not able to get clear of Parker White, so they'll be side by side for second. That's exactly what the 10 car Steven Wilson wants to see.
Looking for the white flag, this time by. Advantage in the battle for second goes to Parker White, who gets clear of Graham Bolin, and this race is official. Wrecking on the front straightaway, but it doesn't matter up front. Steven Wilson, 1 car length over Parker White. Here comes the 53, drives it into the bumper, tries to move the 10. Wilson holds strong, not going to be enough, and the hometown hero wins in the first trip to Iowa. It's Steven Wilson again. Wilson saw it coming and was able to shake it off. This winning moment is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official fan refreshment of eNASCAR, as Wilson, 3-time race winner.